Hey there, I'm Kelly Filetto, and welcome to the Grit, Guts, and Courage Show. And this is the show where we talk to people who have faced challenges in their life and they found the grit, guts, and courage to get through it. So today, my guest is Chuck Anderson. So, Chuck, I'm so excited to have you here today because, I have no idea what you're going to talk about. So, I'm really excited about it. So, well,
Awesome. Well, we'll let it be a surprise.
yeah, so let's just get right into it. What's your story of grit, guts, and courage?
Um, I think that my story is this. It's being able to be a self-employed entrepreneur was something that I always wanted to do. And actually, I shouldn't say that. It's not what I always wanted to do. When I was first starting out my career, what I really wanted to do was be an electronics engineer. And so I actually did that, and I was going down that path. And about 3 or 4 years into it, I realized, yeah, no, this is not this is not my dream. And it's funny because all as a kid and especially during as a teenager, this was what I thought I really wanted to do. Um, and once I was doing it, I realized, no, this sucks. Like I have to be at work at 7 a.m. every morning. I can't drink coffee at my desk because I have to dress up like a spaceman every day to like go into the lab and things that were really, really cool the first time I did it. But after 3 or 4 years of it, I'm like, no, this sucks. And then the politics of corporate and all of that nonsense. So I started looking for other opportunities, and I knew I didn't want to have another job. And although I really liked the steady paycheck, right? Because here's the thing: I got to go to work every single day, and I did my job whether I loved it or not. I got a paycheck every 2 weeks, and was it enough? No, but always knew it was coming. I was always very interested in business, but I was scared to take the leap because of my parents. My parents were farmers, and you know, as a farmer, you're essentially in your own business. You're self-employed, and and especially as farmers, we only got paid once a year. Like when we sold our wheat, and we and everything else that came from the farm, we would get that big payday, but that big payday had to you know last the entire year, and often it didn't. And my parents always said to me, hey, you really need to get a good paying job so you can get paid regularly, and then you don't have to kind of go through the same struggles that we had. But there was always this call. Like I always wanted to do something, like I wanted to start something of my own. I wanted the freedom. I didn't like someone telling me you have to be here at 7 a.m. And if you're here at 7:01, we're going to be standing at the door wondering where the hell you are, all of that. And I just hated all of that. So I started looking around for businesses that I could start and run. So I tried out a few things. But I'd say where the courage part really came into this is that it became clear to me after you know going to all these seminars and trying different businesses on the side and stuff that I was going to have to do a sink or swim type of deal, right? Like it was like going to the job and trying to do the business on the side. It wasn't really going to get anywhere. At some point I was going to have to let go of one of them and go down that path. So in 1995, I quit my job, and my parents hated every minute of that. And I quit my job. I moved back to Vancouver, and I went full time into my own business. And I have been self-employed ever since. And so, scary. We've had good years, we've had bad years, but really what launched me into that was finding the courage to let go of that job because I wasn't going to be able to do both. One of them had to go, and that's the one I chose, and I've been a self-employed business owner ever since.
I love how you talk about, giving up the job because, I remember when I was, well, I would have been in my early 20s and I had a job and I was making $8.65 an hour. And I was going to quit my job so I could get some training so I could, get a better paying job. And I remember my parents saying, "Oh my gosh, Kelly, you shouldn't quit that job because if you quit, you're not going to have a pension plan and you're making 8.65 an hour." and, and, and who would be able to live on $8.65 an hour? Back in the in the 80s we could, but not now.
Not now.
I still remember that conversation and how scared my parents were that I was quitting my job to go to school to learn something that was gonna, take me to a whole new level of my life. So I get it.
Yeah, and that's I just remember growing up. I mean, it was always a bit ironic that we were self-employed as farmers, but the message I kept hearing from my grandparents and my parents was go to school, get good grades, get a good paying job when you get out of school, and then buy a house, and then like do all the things, right? And that just wasn't that just didn't line up for me at all. And there was always this calling um that I should be in business for myself, but it was always that tug of war between that desire to go and do it and that programming of listening to my parents and my grandparents every single day growing up saying that's not what you do, right? And part of I think the courage part and the learning, the letting go part was not just letting go of the job but letting go of those expectations of this is how you do it, and if you don't do it this way, then you're throwing your life away, right? I even had friends telling me that, like they wanted me to come work with them in the factory, and they were doing whatever, and they, looking back, they've enjoyed their careers and they've built their life. And that just wouldn't have been for me. There was always this bigger call to something bigger and better, and I'm glad I did because I not only let go of that job and started my own business, but I've got to do some really cool things like produce software. And I've written a book, which I never thought I would do, multiple actually. I've taught courses, I've led seminars, I've spoken on stages as a public speaker, and lots and lots and lots of other things that as a kid, I never really would have imagined myself doing, especially the public speaking part. Because I remember watching a Anthony Robbins infomercial back in would have been the late 80s, probably early 90s. And this is back like when his first infomercial was playing like every single day, so you couldn't miss it. And I was fascinated by him. I was fascinated not just by him, but the infomercial, this whole idea of selling in this program. And I was just so into it. And then I remember having a very vivid dream run one night where there was the seminar and there was thousands of people in the crowd. And I looked on stage and what I thought was Tony Robbins, but when I actually saw the face of who was on stage, it wasn't Tony, it was me. And I woke up instantly in sweats, in trembling fear, going, oh my God, that's not ever going to be me. I'm never, ever, ever going to do that. Because I was so afraid of speaking on stage. In fact, I remember a couple of boardroom meetings where like the CEO and stuff was there, and I would just get so nervous, like my face would go red, my mouth would get super dry. I couldn't even talk to 10 people that were in a boardroom, never mind thousands,
Yeah.
you know. And then I remember like, being asked to come and speak at a seminar, and I did it. And, it wasn't that scary. In fact, I started looking for additional opportunities to do it. Next thing I know, I'm speaking at a Rich Dad Poor Dad seminar in Toronto with over 1,000 people in the audience. So that dream that I woke up from in
Yeah.
cold sweats as a nightmare, like, oh my God, no, that's never going to be me. I'm never going to be speaking on stage. It's kind of funny because that became my life. Where I did speak on stages, big and small ones, speaking to people, and now coaching people one on one. Like there's all like I speak for a living, but it was very interesting at the time because it was so far from my reality, and it translated into a nightmare, which is actually today one of my best gifts.
It's so funny how, I mean, I'm same way as you. I never thought that I would be on stage in front of 3,000 people speaking and sharing my story or having a documentary about my life story. But it's fascinating because when I look back and I think about the very first time I ever spoke, it was when I was 13 years old and we were in 4-H, and in 4-H you have to do a public speaking
Mm.
competition. And I was thinking back, oh my gosh, the universe was trying to get me to be a speaker when I was 13, and I won the competition too. So it's just so fascinating how everything just happens for us and we don't really know why or where it's going to take us, but it does.
I was not a natural speaker. I remember my 4-H talks and I dreaded them. I hated them. And I think, and then you get all the feedback afterwards. And I think it added to my anxiety, honestly. And I think that led to, like I said, was, kind of early 20s. The thought of speaking in front of a big crowd was terror for me, because I did not win prizes. They were terrible, and I didn't want the criticism. I didn't want people telling me, "Oh, that sucked. That's wrong." All the things that I would hear throughout school when I was growing up, and that just contributed to more and more anxiety about it. And the turning point for me was somebody said, I can't remember, it was I've been blessed with a lot of great mentors. One of them said to me, said, "Look, you have a message to share,
Mhm.
and you have information that other people desperately need. So it's not about your fear. In fact, if you don't share that information with people who need it, not only is that keeping you safe and comfortable, but it's also ripping those people off because they need you. They need what you do." And I was like, that's interesting. And as I processed that, this is how I overcame the fear of public speaking. It was no longer about me. See, the fear, what I realized, was about me. It was about me looking good. It was about me presenting myself well to the point where the audience said, "Yeah, he did a great job. Like he was awesome." And as long as I didn't screw up, I was fine. And so all that fear, all that anxiety was about me trying to look good. And what I learned from the words of that mentor was, it's not about me. It's not about how I look.
Yeah.
It's about how am I serving that audience? How am I giving them information that's going to help their lives? And as soon as I started to think about them and how I was helping them, and not about me and how good I was coming across and how good I was looking, the anxiety started to go away because it became then about service and not about looking good. And that served, it still serves me today. I still get nervous sometimes, but I just remember I'm here to serve. There's a group of people here who need me today, so I'm going to show up for them. And got easier.
Right. I love that. I love that story. Okay, so someone comes up to you and they say, "Chuck, I'm trying to make a decision. I don't know what to do. I know I want to be self-employed, but I'm not sure about giving up my paycheck." What would you tell them?
I would tell them to, first of all, I'd ask them why. Like, why do you want to do this? Like there's the check-in. Okay. So is it just like, I mean, what you want to do is figure out, is this real, right? Like, is it just like you had this random thought and you're going to throw everything away? Or is this something that's like really calling to you? Like, what is your why? So you're being called to start your own business. Why? Right? What does it do for you? What does it do for your family? What does it do for other people? And really connect with that. And if it's real, then I would say exactly what my mentor said to me. And that is, then you owe it to the rest of us to do it, to take that next step and to put that out there. And because we need your gift. And in today's world, we probably need that more today than we ever did. We need people with amazing gifts and amazing talents to share. And I would also say, surround yourself with support. We've got you, right? Like those of us who've been there, those of us who know what it's like to take that first step, trembling with fear, we've got you, right? Like surround yourself with people who believe in you, who believe in what you're doing, and then you're not going to be able to take the chicken exit. You're not going to be able to like have your fear justify your lack of action. You surround yourself with people who believe you can do it and believe that it's worthwhile, and that's going to help you keep moving forward. Every time I raise the bar in my business, there's fear. I get scared. What do? I have great friends who are also risk takers, who are also people who set a goal and go for it. And we have each other's backs. And if you surround yourself with people like that, you got this. You can definitely do it.
I love it. That's so awesome. Okay, so well, I was going to ask you what kind of words of wisdom you have, but I think you kind of covered that.
I kind of did it.
You did. You kind of covered it.
I just launched right into words of wisdom. I guess I'm wise.
You did. Okay, so share with me, what is the gift in what you've been doing? What is the gift in all of it?
The gift. So in terms of like how it contributes to others, is that what you're kind of thinking? Or
well, because a lot of times people will see certain things as being a tragedy, right?
oh,
For example, you know, I lost a baby, right? So some people don't see that as a gift. They still see that as a tragedy, but I see it as a gift because losing her definitely is a tragedy, but we wouldn't have had the twin boys if we would have had her, because we would have had the two girls and we would have stopped. But she's in heaven with my dad and my grandparents and her aunts and uncles and everybody, and we've got the twin boys here on earth with us. So that's why I see her passing as a gift. So what is the gift in your story of going through all those struggles, giving up your job and becoming an entrepreneur? What's your gift?
Yeah. So, and there's been, it's cool because there's so many things that have happened along the way that in the moment felt like they sucked, right? Like not I won't lie. I mean, not every moment has been joyous. But everything, and this is the mindset that I've learned to develop, it's kind of similar to what you were just saying. It's that everything that sucked has led me to something that's great, right? And so part of the gift is this. One is that belief, right? Because now when something new comes up that sucks, I'm like, okay, how is this benefiting me? What's the bigger picture here? Like that's the gift. And I think also being able as a coach, something that I often do is coach people through those feelings, right? There was a book that I remember reading in my early 20s called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways.
I love that
read
book.
it. Yeah, I read it, and at the time I didn't get it. I get it now, right? Like I get it now. It's like that fear, when you're feeling the fear, it means you're about to accomplish something great, something you've been asking for, something that you've been wanting to do. And so now I really check in with the fear and go, okay, I'm afraid. So that means something amazing is about to happen. It's new, it's different, so it's triggering my fear response. This kind of sucks right now, but on the tail end of this is going to be something amazing. And, kind of from a high level, I would say that's the real gift. And then hopefully, by leading by example, my 4 children get to see that, right? Um, that they don't always do what I say, but I can see in them that they do what I do and what they see me do. And I think to me, that's the greatest gift, is that if I can inspire them to follow their dreams and follow their path, and if I can lead by example there, and the people that I get to work with every day in my coaching business. I'm 20 years now of coaching people. I love it. I could spend all day doing it because I want to see people realize their dreams. I want to help people overcome those hurdles because I've had to overcome so many of them in my career that I'm grateful. And I think that's the other gift is gratitude. Gratitude and peace, because my childhood was anything but peaceful. You know, I was bullied, I was told I was wrong, I was told I was stupid, I was all these things. That's not peaceful. I even had to run for my life a few times, like from bullies, right? So, like when you're worried, like if you turn a corner, I still have that instinct sometimes. Like if I turn a corner, like, is there somebody behind me? Is there, right? Whatever. Um, but but today there is peace, right? Like there's knowing that, hey, I'm doing what I'm doing because I choose to do it and I'm not forced to do it. And I do feel called to help others on that same path. And so, you know, the gift is all of that. The gift is really having the liberty and the freedom to be able to choose to do that and to be engaged in work with that I believe helps others. And when I help others and I can be an inspiration to others, whether it be my children or my clients or whoever, that's when I feel fulfilled, right? And so that's the gift.
Okay, that's fantastic. So what are ways that people can work with you?
Well, there's a lot of ways that people can work with me, but the first and foremost is have a goal, right? So if you have a goal, something that you want to do, something you want to build, then reach out and I want you to tell me about that goal. I want you to come and tell me what it is. Maybe you're trying to build a business. Maybe you're trying to, get booked as a speaker on stages or start a podcast or, you know, um, sell a course or whatever it is you're trying to do. Start with that. Have a goal in mind and then connect with me and tell me what it is. If it's something I can help you with, then I'm going to help you with it. If it's not me, then I'm going to connect you with one of my friends. And Kelly, you're one of those friends. So I'm going to connect you with one of my friends who can help you, right? Because like I said before, we've got you, right? Like we've got your back, we've got you covered. You don't have to do this alone. There's lots of us, and I have a really strong network of other entrepreneurs who've gone through this similar path. We've gone through some of the fiery hoops and the scary things, and we've got you. So reach out and book a call with me and tell me about it, and
What's
we'll.
your link? What's your link
So my
for
link is
oh,
chuck360.com. If you go to chuck360.com, all my socials, all my calendar booking link there. There's videos, podcasts, websites. It's all right there on one place, chuck360.com.
excellent. Thank you so much, Chuck. That's been a great chatting with you. And that wraps up this episode of Grit, Guts, and Courage. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And thank you, Chuck.
Thanks, Kelly. Great to be here.
You're very welcome.